Hello and welcome everyone to a new video on our YouTube channel. So in today's video, we're going to be showing you how to diagnose and replace a blown head gasket on this 1981 Mitsubishi Gallant. So first, we're going to try to start her up and show you how it's acting. As you saw, guys, we tried to start her up, but it didn't want to work with us. Turns out the distributor is, well, destroyed. As you can see, the cap spins on the distributor body without anything holding it on. So we're going to turn our focus to removing the spark plugs and testing the compression of the engine. So as you can see, we removed all 4 spark plugs, and now we're going to test the compression. As you can see, this is the cylinder number 2. We have 0 compression. Cylinder number 3 is the same thing. So guys, we have some major issues on cylinder 2 and 3. We have 0 compression, nothing at all. And we also know that the car has some mixed water with the oil, as you can see from the condensation here. And looking on the spark plugs here, we can see that the number 3 in particular is all wet. And this is possibly from coolant leaking into the cylinder because there is no smell of gas to it. Now we're going to start the disassembly. We're going to start taking out the cooling system, the radiator, the fan and the shroud to make extra room to work on the engine. Guys, so as you saw, we removed the upper timing cover and the valve cover, and if you look closely on the valves here, you can see the condensation where it has some water evidence. If you look closely here, you can see the creamy color, which indicates that there is a lot of water that is being mixed with the engine oil. Now it's not that severe because when the car started misfiring and acting up, they shut it down, so it did not mix a lot of water with the oil. So now we're going to remove the lower timing cover and the crank pulley. A quick trick on removing the crank bolt: as you can see, you stick a wrench on the bolt, and since this car has a metal skid plate, we can use it, but if not, you can use an extension and extend it to the frame there and put it in this location. Then you crank the engine up and it will loose. So just like that, we loosen the crank bolt, and now we can remove it easily without any special tools. Now to remove the crank pulley, there are 4 12mm bolts holding it onto the inner sprocket. Guys, so as I was setting the engine on TDC, as you can see, this is the timing marks on the camshaft sprocket. This dot here needs to face this slash here, but I noticed that the crankshaft is not on the right spot. As you can see, there's a slash here. There should be a corresponding one on this wheel here, but it's not visible, which made me curious. So I started spinning the engine until I found this slash here. As you can see, there's a pivot here, a hole in the wheel, which should be lined up with this flash here, but it was not before. And I looked up on the cam sprocket. As you can see, the dot is almost 12 o'clock, so it's almost a quarter of a turn out of time, which is a bad thing. So we don't know if we have any internal damage to the engine, like band valves or anything like that, but there is another possibility. If that is the engine is a non-interference engine, all the valves will be okay. We don't know until we open up the engine. Okay guys, so after removing the bolts of the exhaust manifold here and one bolt that holds the exhaust to the transmission down there. We freed the exhaust from the cylinder head. Now we can just pull it straight out, just like that. Now we are free. Okay guys, so firstly now we pulled some coolant lines off the intake manifold and we disconnected everything from the intake manifold, and now it's only hooked up to the cylinder head itself. And we're gonna pull it up as one unit. So now it's time to remove the timing belt. So what you do is, this is the tensioner. You loosen both bolts for it. This is the pivot bolt and this is the spring bolt. Then you hook on it like that and push the tensioner away. And while it's away, tighten the bolt so it holds it in the untensioned position. And just like that, the timing belt is free, and now we can remove it. Okay guys, so now we're gonna remove the cylinder head. It has 10mm Allen bolts or hex bolts. Now a rule of thumb is to remove the cylinder head bolts in a crisscross pattern from the outside and go your way through to the inside of the cylinder head. So we're gonna go like this, and then we're gonna go to the insides step by step until we remove all the bolts. Okay guys, so as you saw, we removed the cylinder head of the engine, and as you can see perfectly here, clearly there is a gap in the cylinder head gasket here, which was causing the compression to leak from this cylinder to this cylinder and vice versa, and causing no compression at all. We also need to further investigate to verify where the coolant was leaking into the engine and into the oil. As you can see here, if you look closely, there's some traces of coolant, this brownish looking color here, coolant leaking from this port into the cylinder here, which was the main cylinder of the problem, which was some coolant was flowing out from the spark plug hole while we were doing the compression test. Looking at the cylinder head gasket here, you can see the discoloration caused by the coolant leaking from the port to the cylinders here, to both cylinders. And if you look on the other side, you can see clearer the discoloration of the blown area and how the coolant was leaking. Also looking here on this coolant passage, you can see the discoloration between the cylinder ring and the coolant passage seal. You can see anywhere you see a form of discoloration between two ports means that there is something flowing from this side to the other side and causing a leak. Okay guys, so looking at the bottom side of the intake manifold, we have this weird thing going on. We contacted the customer and he said that there was a crack here and they used some JB weld to seal it, but I think that it's not sealing perfectly and there's unmetered air going into the engine which caused it to overheat. This might be one of the causes that caused the engine to blow the head gasket. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the cylinder head to the machine shop and see what they think about it. So we found out that the water pump is actually leaking some coolant from the back side, so we're gonna remove it and get us a new one. And here we have the brand new water pump. And here we have the new gasket, and it also comes with the small O-ring for the water pipe. I always like to put a thin coat of RTV on any gasket, especially for the water pump, because corrosion might have occurred on the engine side, which caused some little pores and scratches on the metal. So this covers any imperfections in the metal, so we have no leaks. After cleaning the mating surfaces, we're gonna install the new water pump. And now I'm gonna reinstall the timing belt tensioner. We also got the cylinder head back from the machine shop, so now I'm installing the fuel pump back on it. I'm gonna reinstall the intake manifold back on the cylinder head outside of the vehicle because it's easier that way. So as you can see guys, this is the freshly machined cylinder head. And this here is the bottom side of the intake manifold. As you can see, all the JB weld, we removed it and welded a plate to the intake manifold from the bottom side. And as you can see, the deck of the engine is clean. So now we're gonna start prepping it to install the cylinder head. This yellow stuff that I'm applying is called head gasket shellac. It's used to cover any imperfections in the surface of the engine and make a perfect seal. And here we have our new 4G63 cylinder head gasket, and we're gonna slap it right on. We're also gonna use a thin coat of gasket shellac on the head gasket itself. And now it's time to slap on the cylinder head back on the engine. Then we're gonna start installing the cylinder head bolts. Make sure you put some lube on the threads of the bolts before installing them. And as usual, as it is for every engine, there's a special sequence and torque specs that you need to follow while installing the cylinder head. This is the torque sequence, as you can see. We're gonna be following them, and make sure you use some new bolts because the old bolts are torque to yield bolts and you cannot reuse them. Now after we torque the cylinder head down, it's time to install the camshaft. Make sure you put some oil on the journals of the camshaft before installing it down. Now we're gonna reinstall the timing sprocket of the engine on the crankshaft side and reinstall the bolt just to install the belt. As you can see, this is the rocker shaft that goes along with the piece by piece with the caps of the camshaft. We're gonna install it all by one. Now it's time to set the timing of the engine. As you can see, these are the timing marks for the camshaft. And this here is the timing mark on the crankshaft. We also have a small timing mark on the oil pump pulley. It's not for timing, it's also for the balance of the engine because of the countershaft of the oil pump. And here is the old cracked timing belt. We're going to be replacing it with the high quality one. Now it's time to install the new timing belt on the engine, taking into consideration all the marks that we said before. We're gonna route it on the timing pulley on the crankshaft first, then around the camshaft, and then around the oil pump, and then route it to the tensioner. After releasing the tensioner, it will tension the belt on its own, and then we can rotate the engine 2 full rotations and check the timing marks once again. And don't worry, this motor in fact is a non-interference engine, so if you have the timing off on the first time, it's fine. It will not hit either the valves or the pistons, so everything is safe. After rotating the engine twice, you can see that the timing marks are right on the money. And now it's time to torque the tensioner bolts. So with that done, it's time to put everything back together. We're gonna install the exhaust manifold and the valve covers on the engine. And we reinstall the timing cover. Now since we are freshening up the engine, we're gonna be replacing the points inside of the distributor. We're gonna start by removing the 2 screws that hold them up, and then removing it. Here we have the new points that we're gonna be installing. Now we're gonna mark the top dead center mark on the crankshaft pulley, and then we're gonna install it in place. As you can see, we got the engine on 15 degrees before top dead center. Now we're gonna install the distributor and start setting the ignition timing. Now we're gonna install the radiator back on, along with the fan and all the accessories. We're also gonna use some brand new spark plugs. And some new spark plug wires. Now we're gonna start adding the fluids. We're gonna start by the coolant and fill up the radiator. And then the engine oil. Now it's time for the first startup, but as usual, I'm confident in myself and I know that it will start on the first time. Since this engine has a mechanical fuel pump, we're gonna keep feeding it until the fuel system is primed. And now that we got the engine to operating temperature, we're gonna remove the valve cover and do the valve lash on these valves. Now we're gonna follow the firing order to set the valve clearance. Now the clearance spec on the intake valves, it's 0.15 millimeters hot, and for the exhaust valves, it's 0.25 millimeter hot. Hot means that the engine needs to be on operating temperature. Using the 0.15 millimeter feeler gauge, you must feel some slight resistance while dragging it in between the valve and its follower.
Just like that, folks, we showed you how to diagnose and replace a blown head gasket on this 4G63 single overhead cam engine. If you enjoyed the video and learned a couple of stuff along the way, if you did, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you on the next one. Peace.